Hi, today we're going to make risotto, and we're going to make a chorizo and pea risotto. This is my new t-shirt, all very nice. And it's very, very simple ingredients, and it just takes a little bit of time to actually make it, but it's a really delicious recipe. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put a little tiny bit of olive oil in a pan, and we're going to add to the pan about 200 grams of chorizo. Now, if you haven't had chorizo before, it's a bit like kind of salami sausage, a bit like pepperami. This is what it looks like. This was from the supermarket. This was £3, but it's going to do you 2 meals, and you can get cheaper chorizo. Basically, it's quite it's like sort of smoked sausage. Okay, what you're going to do is you're then going to chop up that chorizo, half of that one, so about 200 grams, and you're going to dice it. And now, unfortunately, this is not a vegetarian recipe, so we're going to get that heat up. Now, what we want to do is we want to cook it so it's kind of toasted, which is a bit weird, really. So it's going to go all crispy. So we're going to get the chorizo into the pan. So, as you can see, it leaves a bit of a mark on your chopping pan. So it's got paprika in it. It's really tasty stuff. So we're going to get that in there. It needs to be at quite high heat, but we don't want to burn it. So we're going to get that in the pan, and we're going to cook that, and that's going to really, really flavour our risotto. Okay, now risotto is a really, really filling, delicious rice dish, but it doesn't take a huge amount of effort to make. You've just got to sort of take your time with it. So we're going to get that chorizo cooking, and straight away what will start to happen is the oil that you've got in your pan will start to go a kind of yellowy, golden yellowy colour, with all the flavours start to come out of the chorizo. Okay, so we're going to start cooking that, and we're just going to leave that to cook away. Okay, now we're going to be using risotto rice. Now, if you can't get risotto rice, you can use long grain rice, but risotto rice is quite a strange sort of texture, and it's really, really hard, little kind of bullet-like bits of rice, but it holds its texture and its shape when you're cooking with it. So it is quite different from long grain rice or normal rice that you might cook with. So you really need, when you're making a risotto, you really need to use risotto rice. It's not really expensive, it's quite a different sort of texture to what you might normally cook with. Okay, so we stir around our chorizo. Now what you've got to do is you've got to be really patient, and you've got to let this crisp up, because it can't be, there's a really big bit in there, I'm going to hoik him out, so it can't be kind of raw chorizo. I'm going to get him out, give him a chop him up. So hopefully you've been following with the other recipes. Most of them are vegetarian, but this one is a kind of meat one. If you can't get chorizo, you could put salami in here. I mean, you could put chickpeas with some paprika if you wanted to make it a vegetarian equivalent, but to be honest, I think this is kind of a real one where you've got to use the chorizo. Okay, so it starts to smoke, which is good. Okay, so what you've got in the bottom of your pan is that oil has gone really, really sort of golden, sort of a real deep orange colour. Now it doesn't matter if the chorizo starts to go a little bit black around the edges. So this is quite a high heat, which is good. It smells absolutely delicious. So if you've never cooked with chorizo, this will start you off on your chorizo cooking mission. Okay, so give it a little stir. Okay, now to that we are going to add 300 grams of risotto rice. Okay, now we're going to add this whilst the chorizo is cooking. And what we want to do is get our rice all around our chorizo. Okay, and then we're going to just simply stir the rice into it. And we need to do this for about a minute. And what you want is the rice to kind of, not to burn, but it starts to kind of heat through, and the juices of the chorizo are going to go into that rice. And this is really, really important that you do this before you put any liquid. Okay, so we'll leave that to cook. Okay, now whilst that's happening, what we're going to do is we're going to crumble a vegetable cube, stock cube. Now if you've got a chicken cube, you could use chicken stock. we're going to crumble it into our measuring dish. So, and what we need for this, we actually need just over 1 litre of stock. Now that's 500 millilitres, so we're going to need 2 of these. There's my boiling water. Okay, so we pour the water into this. Okay, so just give it a little stir. Okay, now before we add the stock, what you're then going to do is you're going to add 2 teaspoons of vinegar. I'm going to add white wine vinegar, just a little splodge. So we add 1, 2 of those. Oh, okay, give it a little stir. Oh, that is giving off some fumes. Okay, give that a little stir in. Okay, and then we're going to add some of our stock. Okay, that's one lot. Okay, now we're going to add another one of these in, and then we're going to get it boiling. And then what we're going to do is we're then going to turn the heat right down, and we're going to simmer it. So, and it will take about 20 minutes to simmer. And what you want is the rice to, when you bite into it, it should just be sort of beautifully soft, but it still holds its shape. So we're then going to leave that on to simmer, and that's going to simmer for about 20 minutes. And when it starts to dry out, and you see the sort of moisture's taken up, what you need to do is add a little bit more water and just keep topping it up. Okay. Now it is kind of a labour of love. Now Italians put a bit of white wine in it, or they might put a bit of vermouth or cinzano. You can put a little bit of white wine in it if you want. I'm not going to, I'm just going to leave that to simmer away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one which has already been simmering. I'm going to take it off the heat over here. Ooh. Okay. So this one, switching around, put that one over here. Okay, so what it's done is it's started to, all the liquid has been absorbed into the rice. So, okay, and what we're going to do to this is then we're going to add 200 grams of peas, cold peas, frozen peas, chuck them in. Now these frozen peas are not going to take very long to cook at all, apart from the ones that are firing across my kitchen. Okay, so we're going to put all these in here. I'm going to turn the heat right down. This doesn't need to be very hot. So we mix our peas into our risotto, and those peas will cook really, really quickly. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on. Just let those peas steam through. Just turn the heat up a tiny bit. And that will take about 2 minutes for those peas in there to warm right through and to give that risotto a really beautiful colour. Okay, now one thing I've forgotten, so I'm going to run to the fridge. That's what I need. Okay, so let's put that heat up a little bit. So what we've got is a really filling, hearty meal with really simple ingredients. Now you can put lots of different things in risottos, and once you start making a risotto, you realise quite how easy it is to do, and quite kind of how delicious and filling it is. And this is a really good, healthy main meal. So, and then to finish it off, just need my cheese grater. What we're going to do, so I'm just going to have a little bit, because I'm making all these different recipes and I'm putting on masses and masses of weight. Okay. So all we do is I'm going to spoon a little bit into this bowl. Turn that heat down on here. Okay, put that one back on there. And we just grate a little bit of Parmesan, just hard cheese. Now if you haven't got any Parmesan, you could use a bit of cheddar. This is a really Italian dish, so you just grate a little bit of Parmesan on the top. If you want to put a bit of black pepper on it, you can do as well. So, and this is how you would serve up your dish, with a little bit of grated cheese on the top. And we've got our chorizo and our peas in there. Let's have a try. Oh, it's delicious. It is so lovely. And the chorizo goes quite sort of soft as well. It's just the most beautiful meal. And that took about 20 minutes, 25 minutes of simmering for that rice to go all fluffy, but it still held its shape. And the flavour of the chorizo has gone all the way through. And those peas take about 2 minutes. That's delicious. So, get cooking. The recipe is on the website. Very, very simple. Once you try this, once you make this risotto, you can do lots of different risottos. There's lots of different vegetarian risottos you can do as well. This is a real easy one to start with. It's really delicious. And it's really filling. And the ingredients are not very expensive, but are really fantastic. It's a delicious meal. I'm going to carry on eating that. Enjoy the next recipe. Get cooking and keep sending in all those pictures.